Tonight, AEW has World's End live from Orlando, Florida, and it is the very last time that AEW has this year to convince fans that things are going to change for the better going into 2025. There is not one single thing on this show that I'm genuinely interested in from a storyline perspective. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be a great wrestling show. AEW always puts on great wrestling pay-per-views, but story is key. Where did all the excitement go? Where did all of the fanfare go? Where did all of the interest go? AEW, by every metric going into next year, is down across the board, and Tony Khan is not helping. Tony Khan firmly believes that airing the All In footage for CM Punk and Jack Perry at All In helped AEW all throughout 2024 and helped land them a major TV rights contract from Warner Brothers Discovery. The man is slowly losing his mind. AEW Shockwave, where is that show? Are the rumors for that show coming on Fox? True, I got the very latest on that, and AEW Shockwave will not be making any waves on Fox Sports. And the reason is very simple to understand. We got a major faction in WWE moving from Raw to SmackDown, and WWE wants two-night pay-per-views across the board. It will not just be WrestleMania and SummerSlam. WWE wants to expand two-night pay-per-views across their pay-per-view calendar going on into 25 and 26. We got the latest on all these stories today. On Saturday, it is December 28th, 2024, right here on Off the Script. We'll start with WWE PLEs. WWE wants to expand every other premium live event that is not WrestleMania and not SummerSlam to two-night events. TKO Chief Operating Officer Mark Shapiro previously discussed at the UBS Global Media and Communications Conference the idea of expanding the two-day format for WWE Premium Live Events, PLEs, beyond WrestleMania. The recent announcement of two-night SummerSlam events in both 2025 and 2026 seemingly indicates that a potential shift in the presentation of major WWE events is coming. During the latest episode of WrestleVotes Radio on Sportskeeda's Backstage Pass on Patreon, it was noted that WWE was considering making the Royal Rumble a two-night show. So they say, and I quote, "So in a follow-up, we were told that WWE is indeed considering making certain PLEs two nights, with the next option being the Royal Rumble event. We are told WWE considering this option for Indianapolis this year, but decided to hold off for a few different reasons. It is on the table for 2026. Some within the company expect it to be two nights in 2026. In addition, a source states that Money in the Bank could also be headed to multiple nights by 2027 as well." So they go on to say it seems like they're going to advance these PLEs to two-night formats where the card kind of does that form for the Royal Rumble. Easy, one night is a men's Royal Rumble main event. The next night would be a women's Royal Rumble main event. Same with Money in the Bank. One night would be the men's ladder match. The second night would be the women's ladder match. That is, I think, from the majority of the fan base, from what we were seeing with WrestleMania and then recently as of this year with SummerSlam, now moving to two nights next year at MetLife Stadium in the New York, New Jersey area. I think fans kind of realized that this is where WWE was going with all of their major, at least the big five, all of their major big five PLEs. WWE is, you see what they are strategically doing with their PLEs. They started with WrestleMania, then they moved on to SummerSlam, which is, by all accounts, their second biggest show of the year, and it is the WrestleMania of the summer. WrestleMania's two nights, SummerSlam's two nights. Royal Rumble is the third biggest show that they do all year, or the third biggest PLE that they do all year. So it would be, I think, not surprising to see the Royal Rumble move from one night to two nights. And then you start going to Money in the Bank, and then maybe we start doing Survivor Series, and then that would round out the big 5 PLEs for WWE in their calendar year. And then you can fill in the B-level pay-per-views. You got your Saudi pay-per-views, your Crown Jewel, your Super Showdowns, and all that type, King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring, whatever it may be. Then you move on to the Backlashes and the Elimination Chambers, which all of the B-level pay-per-views and everything in between the major 5 are going to be international shows, and WWE certainly wants to expand on the international markets for their PLEs. I am okay, believe it or not, I am okay with the Royal Rumble going 2 nights, but we all know WWE is not going to stop there. It's not going to stop there. The product is hot. The company's the hottest that it's ever been. They're making more money now than in any other point in their entire history is WWE right now. They are breaking records left and right. They just broke a record for the Elimination Chamber. They broke a record for the Elimination Chamber next year in Toronto at the Rogers Center. WrestleTix is reporting that the show has sold, this was basically 5 days ago or so it's probably more than that now, 23,633 tickets for a setup of 29,670. And they are already on pace to break whatever the old record was at that stadium for WWE. I mean, it is ridiculous. And this is going to continue to happen as long as people are willing to pay the prices that are right now astronomical to attend these WWE shows. So the WWE sees this and they say, well, we could move this one to 2 nights. We can move that one to 2 nights. We can move this one to 2 nights. And WWE is going to continue shattering records going into 25, into 26, into 27. And it's not going to stop. Nothing stays hot forever. That's my question. What does WWE do when the product eventually starts to cool off? Nothing stays hot forever, man. There's going to be another down period for WWE. It's going to get cold again. It's not going to be as hot as it is right now in 2024 and going into 2025. So what do they do then? You know, WWE is setting themselves up for the future of the company right now without as hot as it is right now. They are setting themselves up for record-breaking shows in the next at least 2 years. But what happens eventually when things start to cool off? My feeling on moving all of the major 5 to 2 nights, it is their business. They're going to do what they want with it. But I look at it from a fan's perspective. WrestleMania was the first show that WWE had on the calendar year that went from 1 to 2 nights, and we all universally loved the change. 7 hours, 8 hours of a wrestling show, no matter what company it is, no matter what show it is way too long of an ask for fans to sit there in the arena and for fans to sit and watch something for that amount of time. It is very strenuous, it is very tiresome, and it is just outlandishly long. Nothing should be 8 hours, and nobody wants to consume something in full for 8 hours. It is ridiculous. So they moved it to 2 nights. And I feel like 3.5 hours on one night, 4 hours on one night, 3.5 hours, 4 hours on a second night, back-to-back nights is so much more easily digestible for the fan base. It should have been universally praised. So them doing SummerSlam is a great move as well, because SummerSlam is just like WrestleMania. It is the WrestleMania of the summer, and they want to get SummerSlam back to what it used to be. For years, it fell off. So 3.5 hours, 4 hours on one night, 3.5 hours, 4 hours on a second night, which is great. It opens up also the roster to get more opportunities, more superstars get on the show, more storylines are on TV, more storylines get to be played out at these PLEs instead of WWE giving us a SummerSlam show with 6 matches. WWE can have 6 matches on one night, 6 matches on another, total of 12. I don't mind that. I think those are great positives. But when you start looking at, all right, we're going to add Money in the Bank, we're going to add Royal Rumble, we're going to add Survivor Series, the allure and the luster of what was special about WrestleMania being the only show at 2 nights, now you're doing with SummerSlam, now you're doing with Money in the Bank and rumored Royal Rumble and then Survivor Series, it's going to take away from the original concept that was only for WrestleMania, and now you're just, spreading it out across all the other major 5 pay-per-views, which is going to take away from the special feeling that WrestleMania weekend was the only thing at 2 nights. That's the way that I look at it. It's not my company. I'm not making WWE any money. It's their company. They're going to run the company the way that they see fit. I'm just looking at it from a quantity and quality situation. I've always been of the mindset quality over quantity. And here we are. 5 PLEs, their big 5 PLEs, will eventually all be 2 nights. Monday Night Raw is moving back to 3 hours. SmackDown is expanding to 3 hours. NXT, 2 hours on Tuesday nights. There's going to come to a point where it is just too much. WWE is playing a very dangerous game of overexposing the product. Too much of the product is a bad thing. You're going to tire people out. You're going to burn people out from so much WWE. No matter what the story is, no matter what the angle is, no matter how high the interest is, no matter who's coming back to TV, WWE fans are eventually going to get burned out on too much. 3 hours this, 3 hours that, 2 nights this, 2 nights that. When do we sit back and say, all right, man, let's scale it back a little bit? I understand WWE wants to keep riding the momentum, but expanding more so sometimes is not the best way to approach things. So we'll see what happens there, but they're breaking records. They're making more money hand over fist, and things are going to continue to expand in the WWE universe. Let me know what you guys think about that one down below, because I did see this floating around, and I do have my reservations on it, but WWE will obviously be expanding all of their major PLEs over time to 2 nights. We got a WWE Raw faction moving to SmackDown in 2025. This is also being reported by WrestleVotes Radio on their Sportskeeda Backstage Patreon pass. It was noted that American-made Chad Gable, Brutus Creed, Julius Creed, and Ivy Nile are expected to move from Raw to SmackDown in 2025. They say, and I quote, "Our last little nugget here is we are told to expect American-made to shift over to SmackDown during the new year, with many in the company having high hopes for all of the members. There is a feeling within creative that placing younger talents on SmackDown, specifically like the Creeds and Ivy Nile, will do wonders, considering the move to 3 hours. Of course, Chad Gable is well positioned in his mid-level, high-end type of worker role, so we'll see where that goes. Ivy Nile joined the faction this past August, and she turned heel by attacking Maxine Dupree during Raw. This was the fallout of the Otis and Tozawa Alpha Academy storyline, and they all shifted from that group, did the Creeds and Ivy Nile, to American Made, now led by Chad Gable. I think this is a great move. I think this is a move that I have pitched for several weeks now, and I'm glad to see it finally come to fruition. It would not be the only move I make from Raw to SmackDown. We already see Sami Zayn. We saw Sami Zayn on Friday Night SmackDown. He is potentially being moved over to SmackDown to fit into the Bloodline story and potentially play out a storyline with Kevin Owens in 2025. Drew McIntyre is somebody that I would completely move over to SmackDown as well. Get him off Raw. He's done everything over there. Move him over to Friday Night SmackDown, as he now is also targeting the Bloodline. I could see Carmelo Hayes moving over to Monday Night Raw. I could see LA Knight moving over to Monday Night Raw in the Netflix era. There will be moves, and call-ups from NXT will also be made as well. But I just feel like with what American Made has done on Raw, who they feuded with, and Chad Gable has already tried his hand at the Intercontinental Championship. He will not be winning the World Heavyweight Championship over on Monday night anytime soon. A move over to SmackDown would probably be the best for him, because I could see him slotted in that United States Championship title picture, have him win the United States Championship. It goes along with American Made. Ivy Nile has come along herself as someone who is a standout in the women's division. She could potentially win the Women's United States Championship. The Creeds, another tag team that is on the rise, great at what they do, still young as well. They could win the tag team championships, and they got some solid teams over on SmackDown, with more obviously needed to be added. I think that's a great move for them. So I'm happy to see this actually taking place. an American-made, will be on SmackDown going into 2025. So look forward to that. I'm excited to see what SmackDown can do with the group as a whole going into WrestleMania season. Tony Khan. I seen this story, and I had to record a video for this Saturday afternoon. I don't want to spend too much time on this because, A, I'm tired of talking about the topic and the discussion of CM Punk and All In and everything that happened with the footage being leaked. But Tony Khan is living in a world of delusion. The man is as delusional as anybody I have ever seen in the wrestling industry in many, 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 many years. The guy will not admit that things are just not going right. He will not admit that things are fucked up. He will not admit the creative sucks and everything is great in AEW. So much so that their metrics across the board are down in every possible conceivable way, and nobody will try and fix the problem because Tony Khan needs to be at the helm. He needs to be in charge of every little aspect of AEW because this is what he's wanted to do since he was a young child. Tony Khan reportedly believes airing the Jack Perry CM Punk video footage from All In was a key to getting AEW's TV renewal with Warner Brothers Discovery. During the latest episode of Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer and his co-host Garrett Gonzalez engaged in a conversation about some of the biggest stories in pro wrestling in 2024. Gonzalez posed a question to Meltzer asking if he thought Tony Khan, in retrospect, might have had second thoughts about airing the altercation between CM Punk and Jack Perry on AEW Dynamite. Meltzer provided insight into Khan's perspective, stating, and I quote, "I have discussed this with him. You have no idea how much, and it's always the same thing that he believes, and that was a key to getting the deal, the TV deal. So I will tell you, in every discussion, there is not even a thought in my mind that he made a mistake there." Meltzer goes on to further elaborate on Tony Khan's rationale, explaining that the incident played a pivotal role in securing AEW's new TV deal. If it helped making the deal, then he's right. But it did not help in him making the deal. That's the problem. I don't know where there are facts in the statement or facts in the situation that you could pinpoint that it helped aid AEW in getting a TV rights deal for the next 4 years with Warner Brothers Discovery. I don't really see where that comes into play. Meltzer acknowledged, if it helped making the deal, then he's right. However, he also expressed his own reservation, stating, but I know, and you know, certainly didn't think long-term it was the right thing to do, even though, yes, it did help make Jack Perry into a star. Sure. I just didn't think it was a positive for the company in the big picture. End quote. Since airing the video, Jack Perry's turned heel. He's been along with the Young Bucks, who are currently on hiatus from AEW television. The Perry Punk video aired on the April 10th episode this year of AEW Dynamite. That show drew 819,000 viewers. 880,000 viewers watched the Jack Perry and CM Punk segment from that show, and that was the quarter hour for that particular segment on the April 10th edition of Dynamite. I want to read to you some of the ratings for Dynamite and NXT as of this past week. NXT aired a taped episode on Christmas Eve. Now, everybody's home with their families. NXT's viewership on Christmas Eve, a taped episode that NXT is setting up a triple threat match with Trick Williams defending the NXT Championship against Oba Femi and Eddie Thorpe. Who? Your guess is as good as mine. A taped episode with that being the top program on your show. 723,000 viewers on the CW network. 723,000 viewers for a taped episode that sees a triple threat match, including Eddie fucking Thorpe for the NXT Championship. Dynamite on Christmas Day, legitimately The next day, 574,000 viewers on Christmas night. Dynamite had a lead-in from an NBA game on Christmas Day that drew almost 10 million viewers on Warner Brothers networks. Last year, do you know what AEW did for the ratings? Their viewership this year is down over 32% from last year's rating the same week. Their demo is down 42% from last year during the same week. I don't really understand how anybody is looking at this and not worrying about the decline that AEW has been in since the All-In footage has aired. AEW's got a pay-per-view tonight in Orlando, Florida. They haven't even sold 6,500 tickets as of 3 hours ago. According to WrestleTix, they haven't sold 6,500 tickets for a fucking pay-per-view, which is their huge business throughout the year. We got 9 of these fucking things all year. 6,500 tickets for the last pay-per-view that AEW puts on in 2024. They are being beat out by a WWE house show that is 15 minutes away in Orlando, in the same city, and a fucking WWE holiday live show that doesn't have one match announced, has nearly 8,000 people in attendance tonight with not one single match announced. You don't find that to be a problem? The second biggest company in the entire industry is putting on a major pay-per-view with the biggest storyline that they have being played out in the World Championship main event tonight, and they can't outdraw a WWE live event that hasn't had one match announced for it yet. And you can sit there and live in denial like Tony Khan, but if you don't look at that as a fucking problem, if you don't look at these ratings, this is just this week's rating. If you don't look at these numbers and find there to be a problem, you need to start waking up, man. You need to start waking up and wake up fast. The All-In footage did nothing but hurt AEW. Airing the footage was not only a promotional tactic that failed, it was a manipulation tactic that the company used to try and shill to its fucking stupid fan base that this was all a part of an FTR and Young Bucks storyline for the AEW Tag Team Championship, which it did nothing to enhance the story, it did nothing to enhance the match, and nobody gave a shit about Young Bucks and FTR for what was at that point a fourth time between the two teams. That's number one. Number two, airing the footage made Tony Khan look like a spoiled, rich little bitch who apparently feared for his life. And when he went out on live television and fired CM Punk, a lot of people were like, he did the right thing. I even said he did the right thing after all that we heard. The more that we heard coming out of this story, the more that we found out that CM Punk was more in the right than he was in the wrong. He wasn't an innocent angel in this. But the more the story came out, the more that we learned that CM Punk was in the right and that AEW and the people there who are fucking running the fucking crazy asylum were in the wrong. So Tony Khan fired CM Punk, who is their biggest star and forever will be their biggest star until the day the door closes for AEW. They fired their biggest star for Jungle Jack and both Young Bucks. You don't think that pissed off the fucking existing fan base when it happened? None of these fans have returned to watching the product at all. At all. Airing the footage also was a wake-up call for the fans. I'm not investing my time in this company anymore. Their hijinks and their antics and their bullshit is enough for me, man. I'm done. Every metric since airing that footage has been down across the board. Attendance, live gate, ratings, demo, social media numbers, you name it. Every metric is down because of you airing this footage. They went from 850,000 live viewers from earlier this year to the new norm then being 700,000. And then when the ratings dipped from 700 to 600, 600 became the new norm. And now we're sitting in the fucking 500,000 range. And that is now the new norm. So please explain to me how airing the footage helped AEW in the long run. It did not. It did nothing but harm the company. I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me saying, ever since the footage is aired, I stopped watching AEW. Ever since they fired CM Punk, I stopped watching. The quicker you realize that Tony Khan is delusional, the delusion is fucking scary. I've never seen delusion like this in my entire life, man. This is fucking scary delusional. He's never going to admit he's wrong because billionaires never admit that they're fucking wrong. This is a vanity project. We all know that this is his little pet project. This is Tony Khan playing with real life action figures. I mean, you could make a meme out of it. You could fucking ask Grok on X to fucking come up with an AI generated image of Tony Khan playing with his action figures. It's real life. It's basically what it is. It's real life for Tony Khan, real life action figures. He's basically living his childhood in his adult age, playing with real life action figures. Money, no problem to him. He thinks he could throw money at it and it goes away. It's the typical Vince McMahon mentality. He's throwing money at Ospreay. He's throwing money at MJF. He's throwing money at Mercedes. He's throwing money at Okada. He's throwing money at Swerve. He's throwing money at Adam Copeland. He's throwing money at Jon Moxley. He's throwing money at all these major names. And you're getting beat out by Eddie fucking Thorpe. Ever since NXT moved to the CW network, there hasn't been one fucking week where AEW Dynamite, their A show, has beaten NXT in the ratings since NXT's moved to the CW network. A developmental brand. I don't know how you lay your head down at night and find that to be okay, but everything is great in AEW. The quicker you realize that Tony Khan needs to step away, the quicker Tony Khan realizes that he is the fucking problem with everything that is wrong with AEW right now, the quicker the healing process for this company can begin. And he has the balls to go on a media call when he was asked a question, which I was surprised by during the World's End media call with the fucking journalists in the community. Someone asked him if he's going to remain on as head of creative for 2025. And all he said was, I am on and I will be head of creative going into 2025. A question like that would not be asked during a fucking media call if fans universally didn't understand what the fuck was going on here with the product. That question was asked because people realized there is a problem. It would not have been asked if everything was all right. People ask that type of question because they know that there is a problem right now with the existing television product. And Tony Khan doubles down on it. He'll never admit that he needs help. He'll never admit that he's the problem. He will never admit that AEW is struggling right now because it is bad image for him. He will never admit that he's a failure. And he will never admit that AEW is less than what it is right now. It's sad. It's sad. You can buy yourself out of anything else, man. You're a multi-billionaire and your family will never have an issue with money as long as they fucking live this lifetime and the next 20 lifetimes. But you have thrown money at this thing and everything you seemingly do has fucking failed. A TV rights deal for $550 million will not save your dying product because every other number that you and the company have made into the biggest fucking metrics that the company looks at have been down. You were down 32% in the rating and 42% in the overall demo from just 1 year ago. Where did everybody go? I would love to know where they went. They're all home with their fucking families, gathered around the fireplace, drinking hot chocolate and eating fucking cookies for Christmas. Where the fuck did everybody go? They're all home. 300,000 people is a lot of fucking people to say, all right, man, we don't really give a shit about them. Goodbye. 1 year ago, where did everybody go? The interest in the product is so down that even Fox has given up on Shockwave. The reason AEW will not be airing Shockwave on Fox Sports is because of the low ratings. And this is also coming from Dave Meltzer. AEW is reportedly shopping around a new show called Shockwave, and it's rumored that Fox was interested in acquiring it for FS1. Unfortunately, the promotion is yet to find a home for the project, and Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer Radio believes that Fox is no longer interested in landing the show due to AEW's declining ratings. But please tell me how airing the CM Punk footage with Jack Perry from All In helped AEW in 2024. Meltzer says, the thing like, obviously, Meltzer, all he does is, that there were talks with Fox and AEW and numbers fell. And that's the key. It's like if their numbers have stayed stronger, I think that they would have gotten a lot better shot at getting on Fox, because there are several nights a week where an AEW show could do an AEW show from a year ago or even 6 months ago, could have even done better than Fox does on those nights. And there are still nights that you could do that, but it's not much of a short thing anymore. AEW, here's another one. AEW just canceled 1 hour of their weekly television programming because of the ratings and how terrible the show was on Friday nights. They canceled Rampage. So please tell me how the footage for Jungle Jack and CM Punk, airing that footage from All In, helped the company. Jungle Boy hasn't been better off for it. He's a complete fucking loser. He doesn't feel bigger than he was. The Young Bucks have been on hiatus. They haven't really done anything but fucking kill the overall number every time they're on TV. The interest in the product is down whenever they're on TV. Nothing that this man has done this year has been right. And yet he claimed that this was going to be the best year ever for AEW, that we were going to go back to 2021 AEW. We're not going backwards. We're going to eventually start closing Collision and canceling Collision and Dynamite. Before you know, it's going to be in the 400,000 fucking range on Wednesday nights. Delusion. But we got World's End tonight. They got one more shot to get us excited about what's to come in 2025. And by the way, we've seen things play out over a week-to-week basis since All In. I'm not excited about anything. I constantly keep myself, asking why? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Why is this taking place? Why is this match happening? Continental Classic this? Why are the rules changing? I got more questions than I do answers, and they don't give you the why on anything that's happening on fucking television. All they need is some grade A storytellers and a writing team, and I swear to God, things would pick up. They need somebody new in the chair to give a fresh feel to the show. And right now, with the same showrunner and the same fucking doom and gloom going into 2025, you expect fans to remain with AEW? You expect fans to be excited about what's to come for AEW when we all know who the problem is? We all know what the problem is? Change is needed. And the sooner you realize that, the quicker this company will start to heal itself in 2025. Thank you guys very much. I'll be live tonight with Jesse for the World's End host show right here on Off the Script. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please let me know what you think down below. How delusional is Tony Khan? Sound off in the comment section below. Hit that thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think. Hit that thumbs up. 1,000 likes is the goal. And go check out all the other content on the channel. There is plenty of it for you guys to catch up on as we round out 2024. Again, I'll be live with Jesse tonight after World's End. If you guys want a complete breakdown of the show, open and honest discussion, you guys know where to find us right here live on YouTube on Off the Script. Enjoy your Saturdays, and I'll see you tonight with Jesse live for World's End.